Yes, sir.
And we're recording. And we live. Hey, shout out boys and girls. Shout out to everyone. As you could see, it's the Center Street Boys back again for the first time. That's why that was a joke. Back again for the first time. Play with me. But anyways, welcome to the Center Street Boys podcast. And today we have the man himself, STRAP, Dipo, and Des. So we're gonna start this whole session with a quick introduction of who we are, how we met, and how everything manifested to what it is right now. So we will start with the person on the microphone right now. My name is Strap. I was roommates with both these brothers. I consider them as my actual family, and we've gone through trials and tribulations together, and we've grown together. And these are some of the smartest brothers I know. And my background, I'm from Uganda. I came here sometime 10, 12 years ago, and I came across these good fellows. So let me let these good fellows talk more about themselves and explain to the audience why it's credible to listen to them. So Des, take on the lead real quick.
All right. What's going on, man? Like Shop said, my name is Dez. My friend called me Diddy.
Diddy.
Yep, Diddy, man. Get used to it. Yeah. We go way back from Kansas. We all met in Emporia, ESU, Emporia State. Pretty small town, college town, but like Strap was saying, we got to know each other, went through a lot. We were housemates for, I don't know, several times, man, maybe 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And we saw each other grow together.
Yeah.
I met Strap first, and he was my housemate. And I met Dipo, and we've been friends since then. So it's been great, man.
Dipo.
And my name is Oladipo Oladipo.
Oh, say that again. You said it too fast.
Let me give you the non-government version. Oladipo Oladipo. But Dipo works. I'm from Nigeria, born and raised. I came to the States when I was 17. Yeah, 17. Met these guys. I think I met Strap first. I met Strap was at the gym, right? I think.
The rec?
Possibly, yeah.
I met because the rec center used to work the desk back then.
Yeah.
Funny story. Strap's wife now. We were in the same floor. Second semester, I think, or second year, in Moss Hall on the same floor. So kind of met him there. Started chatting. I seen Des a couple of times when he still had his braids.
Hey man, good times, man. Good times in college.
I seen Des a couple of times back and forth the library. It was kind of you could see the difference, the way he looked, but yet he still, you could still see he was still had his goals in front of him, regardless of how flashy he looked or whatever the case may be. He was always chasing something, and most times it was either to the library or to the science hall. And then I think fast forward to 2012, moved in with Strap. I think back then it was Will when Des moved out and went out of state for a while. It was kind of back and forth since then. So it's been a fun journey, but hey, we're here now.
Now.
Yeah, I got something for you, man, Strap. I was just thinking, it's kind of funny about how, like we said with the Center Street Boys, and I was just talking to my wife a couple of days ago. I realized that we always stayed in the same block.
Yeah.
Like Strap, we were housemates like 3 times, man.
Yeah.
And each time we always found somewhere to live in the same block.
The same block, yeah.
It was kind of funny. Like we go from one house, like it was an apartment, then we go to the house, and then we go to Harlem.
I think it's because we were in small town Kansas, and And with that, our innate abilities of understanding that, we are different. I mean, you come from an international organized, OIE, the international office at that time. Really didn't have too much of people like us, people from Africa. So we build these bonds, these little symbiotic relationships that bring us together. So when you hear someone is not even from your country, but they're from the same continent, you already gravitate to them because they understand a little bit of the struggle. They know what it is to be in a foreign place and seeing snow for the first time, or if you already seen snow, but just understanding the trials and tribulations of coming to the United States and being an international student, and every time I was in any situation, I would always turn to the side and I would see Des there. So Des and I, we just always were in the same places, and I lived with Des in 3 different times, and so it was a beautiful thing. If anybody knows me, Des knows me very well. He knows me very well.
Yeah. Man.
That's why he keeps his distance too.
Man, come on, man. I keep my distance because now I live in Boston. Like it's like coming from Kansas, from Emporia, very small town, to moving to a bigger city. Like it's different. Then I got a question for you guys. Just looking back to where we came from and how we used to live in Emporia. Like, where are you guys at right now? In life, like what stage of life are you in right now? And like, where do you live? What do you do?
I'll go first. So, came to the States. I was in Ottawa for March, for about 8 to 9 months. I stayed with my brother and then moved to Emporia. I was in Emporia from 2011 through 14 December. After Emporia, I moved to the Houston area. Worked for a year, went to grad school. In 2018 June, I moved to Dallas, which is where I reside now. Forward to reside. I'm in the IT industry, so that's about it for me.
All right. So personally, for me, I don't know where to start, but I'm a Renaissance man. I do so many things. I juggle with so many things, but initially I was in Emporia I was in Delaware for a year, like a semester, and then I moved to Emporia. And when I moved to Emporia, I was there from 2008 to about 2015. I got like 3 degrees over there. I did I got like a minor and so many things. I was just a professional college kid. Like I was just getting degrees, just trying to, buying time, and just the whole thing of being an international student and being uncertain. And I ended up with a master's degrees in IDT. That shipped me over to where my lady resides, and that was Wichita. In Wichita, I got a job in 2015, end of 2015, coming 2016, and I've been there from late 2015, early 2016 till now. So so I'm working for. I don't like talking about the companies I work for because I don't want to do that because. That's giving too much information. But I've been in this. I've been in Kansas the whole time. I didn't do the Dipo where he moved from state to state, or Des that moved from Kansas. I'm still in Kansas and I'm holding it down over here.
And for me, it's been quite a journey. I'd say. Like during my time in Kansas, I didn't just stay in Kansas the whole time. I got to move around quite a bit. And like Strap and Dipo, like college was what brought us to Kansas. However, being a national student and just my whole mindset as well has been to not just limit myself to college. As I was seeking my degree, I was also thinking about money, like life after college. And I was trying to build myself as a man. And to do that, I had to, find ways to go out there and make some money. Get the money. So I moved around quite a bit. I spent time in Maryland. I spent time in Illinois, in the Chicago area for like a year. And I still remember, like every summer, I used to go out. To
Wait! Don't incriminate yourself. I'm just reminding you that the people are gonna watch. If we saying anything,
I'm saying like
I'm playing. I'm joking.
I'm saying like I have to go out and work, man. Like like it's life. Like,
I thought you were saying that you're gonna put people in a body bag and you had to be a hitman and be something like on some gangster stuff. I was like, But I'm joking.
But I think from getting my degrees to moving to Boston, it's been quite a change. It's a different lifestyle here in Boston. I got a job in the biopharma industry, which is like huge in Boston, because Boston is it's like huge when it comes to biopharma companies. And my lady also, she's been with me here, working in the education field. It's been great. It's been a change from Kansas, but definitely like I found ways to get better as a person and grow. And the experience that I got from like in Kansas were definitely priceless. So yeah.
Yo, I mean that was a good synopsis. Is that the word? Synopsis, right? Of who we are and a little bit of our history. Some of us, most of us, all of us in this whole podcast, we all have a background. We all come from somewhere, and we have a story that goes deeper and deeper and deeper. But let's talk about right now, man. Let's talk about how this situation that we are going through has affected our day-to-day lifestyle. And my main lifestyle is my pastime, my escapism. How are my brothers feeling not having sports? And how is that affecting y'all? How is that it's bothering me. So I just wanted to ask y'all.
So I think it's two.
And entertainment too.
It's two sides to sports, right? Watching sports and actually playing sports. I think for me, I'm still fortunate to still be playing soccer, even till now. I think it's an escape from work. It's a hobby, a sport, an activity that's become, I think, almost sort of a necessity. And I noticed that even at work when having conversations and everyone is talking about after work going to detox, getting 5 hours and things like that. And some days I'm like, okay, yeah, I know that's all fun and good, but I just feel like soccer for me has become more of a release. Yes, I know it's a great avenue to keep in shape and all that, but it's also an avenue to release. You get to talk to guys who are not necessarily even in your field at all. The guys I play with right now span from, guys from different African countries, Nigerians. So there was, I think, a guy from Rwanda, a couple East Africans to Asians from China, Vietnam, to Hispanics from Honduras, Mexico. Hey, make sure you never mistaken someone who speaks Spanish for Mexican. They don't take that lightly.
Yeah, they don't like that.
They don't like that. So, but
it's like calling everybody African.
Yeah. So
they
take that stuff to heart, which is understandable. But I think for me on the playing side, I feel like I struggle with that a lot, because it's not easy, because you're going from playing a sport for an hour to 2 hours max, and I'll say an hour and a half on average, especially in the summer, from starting April all the way till September, and you're used to having that steady cardio 3 to 4 times a week, and all of a sudden that just shuts down. I personally, even though I push myself to running is not my best forte in regards to running 3 to 5 miles on a constant basis, daily basis, or whatever it may be.
Yeah, running is boring, man.
Yeah, it's boring. So I try to stick to soccer. I'm gonna try to stick to it as long as I can, to be honest. So,
I was gonna say something deeper real quick. Like, I can relate to the part where you say like having sport as a form of cardio is like the best. It's the best because like it's fun. Like basically it's fun. You're having fun,
Yeah.
and at the same time you get to work out.
Yeah.
So so yeah, like I've been trying to, because of the whole coronavirus outbreak and people staying at home, I've been trying to run a little bit more than I used to. And I gotta tell you, man, like even though I'm doing it, but I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get used to it. Like I'm just one of those dudes who likes playing sport, playing basketball, soccer, like people. Go to the gym and work out, and that's how I get my cardio. But now we have to be home. The gyms are closed, and you have to find a way to stay active.
Right.
Unfortunately, like people, I haven't played soccer or any sport in a long time, and it comes with living in the city. Living in the city.
That's true.
You don't get to find people that are into the same stuff like you nearby. You have to go out there looking for people that have the same interests.
Right.
And it's not easy. It's not easy when you have work and you have family and all of that. But not to stray away from the topic, going back to what Strap was asking about, like how do I feel about the lack of sport entertainment right now?
Yeah.
It's tough, man. It is tough. It's like it's a big void.
Yeah.
That is hard to be filled, because like we're all used to, like right now it would have been like what almost the beginning of the NBA playoffs.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, yeah.
Almost.
I was about to say it's tough for Dez because he was having hopes for the Lakers this year.
Man, I'm telling you, man, it is hard.
I mean, it's tough on all of us. It's tough on all of us, especially people that are multifaceted into this sports entertainment world. Like I love basketball. I love football, yeah, a little bit, but I like soccer. I mean, I follow the Premiership avidly, even though I felt my team was getting better with the new coach.
I'm trying to tell you, man.
I won't talk about the team right now because they ain't paying me no sponsorship to promote them. But if you know, you know. I'm a real supporter.
If your team was,
I knew you had to say something. You had to say something. Okay.
If your team was doing great, you wouldn't be talking about no paid sponsors.
Oh, let me tell you this. This Corona thing came and took momentum off a team that was about to be in the top 4 or 5. Every other team.
Wait. Is he talking about his team?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, come on, man. Come on, chill.
Man.
Go look at the form. Like, let's look at the last 4 games. The last 4 games prior to this to the shutdown. Till I don't want to say the coach's name. Nah. Okay, let's do it. Arsenal was starting to pick up with the new coach.
Bro,
I don't know. Only lost.
We never lost any game this whole year.
Bro.
Since 2020 started, we didn't lose. We got rid of Emery in December.
Though.
You're not gonna win this argument, man. I got incriminating texts. Like,
okay, so I'm not playing FBI with anyone. You play FBI. I'm just saying from the moment we're talking about the last 4 games.
Nah,
hold on. Let me see what the table is right before this whole.
No, not the table. Look at the last 4 games. The table. Okay, if you're looking at the table, look at the points and look at the difference. If we may be at 8, but we are only 1 point away from.
Look, man. 4. You're talking about the last 4 games. How can you define the whole season based on the 4?
No,
because you had
you guys are getting things out of context. You guys, I know what you're doing. The listeners want to know the truth. The truth is this: you have to put everything in context.
The truth is, Arsenal
last 4 game meaning. Okay, the context is this. The full context is this: we started off bad, and then we were picking up, and we were getting better, while other teams were tanking. We're not doing good. And that's the full context. If you listen to it from their side, where they talk about the whole season and not talking about the improvement side, then we all lost stuff.
But we know this though. Like every time you get a new manager, one way or another, even if it were a decent manager, there should be some positive changes in the short run. Which is exactly what Arsenal. That's exactly what has happened to Arsenal as expected.
It's like the honeymoon period.
Right, exactly. But to say that's going to all of a sudden propel you to finish in top 4.
Who's your manager? What team? What's your team?
I'm a Chelsea fan.
What's your team?
Real Madrid. the best team in the world.
Exactly. So you guys just sit over in the corner over there.
Look. Before we keep going, I got clarify for our listeners that may not be familiar with what we're talking about. Right now we're talking about soccer. As you can see,
football. People,
football.
Mundial, whatever it's called.
As you can see, Strap and Dipo and I, we like huge soccer fans, and we got different teams that we support. So like this is what sport entertainment does to you. Like when we have games going on, like if we get together, this is what we'll be doing, right? Like just like talking about sports and going back and forth. And this is one of the things that people are missing right now. Like a lot of people are missing, myself included. So I know if we keep going on these routes, we're gonna be able to.
That's why I pull my brakes, because I know one fact that the greatest team in London wears red. That's why I know. But I'll end it there. Just looking at the records, championship stuff they've won. I'm just saying. But anyways, I was going to talk about
whatever makes you happy.
Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, right?
Whatever makes you happy, bro.
I was going to talk about what do you think about the MMA for like ignoring the CDC guidelines and having an actual event? And they are going to have that event in an Indian reservation that is kind of like not following government, because it's considered as its own like little nation, and so there's gonna be.
Is that
you know what I mean? I mean Dipo. Yeah. So this guy is a genius, but again, is it dangerous for the fighters?
You could call it genius, but he's also like knuckleheaded. He's a bull of some sort. And now, given in the business world, you do need that, but there's always a balance. And I know props to Dana White for always pushing pushing abilities or what is able to be done. And I love MMA, but at the same time, I know these guys need to get paid.
But did you hear the rules and the stuff that they're going to be implementing? They're going to test all the fighters, I think. Check their temperatures prior. Even after testing, they're going to check their temperature. They have like a whole list of things that they're going to do. And I don't know if they're going to do it in a empty, like, octagon type of thing with, I don't know. But like he has a whole rules. I don't know if there's any conflict in policy when it comes to the guidelines of the government.
Look, I think here's the thing. I think it is feasible to a certain degree if they're going to test the fighters. Yeah. But the whole entertainment business is not about fighters. It's about the fans, because the fans bring in the money.
Yeah.
So here, I don't think there's going to be anybody who will be willing to go and expose himself to possibly getting coronavirus.
He's going to make a lot of money. There's no sports going on TV right now.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Like, let me make my point. That's what you can say. Like, he's a little bit smart, because he's smart. He's not a little bit smart. He's smart because he's thinking about, like, even though I can make the money, having fans come to the show, I can still have something streamed on TV. Yeah, and people watch it because there's no really anything much going on TV right now. Yeah. Like you guys heard about the basketball, like the NBA starting the horse competition.
Yeah.
And they even have a 2K competition going on because they're trying to find ways to bring people to the TV so that they can still make money somehow. Because at the end of the day, they need money because it's the business. Yep. But people, I don't think they're gonna put people in a position where people are going to be at risk of getting the coronavirus. But if fighters get tested, and if they're clean, I think it should be good to go ahead and fight.
Yeah. And I believe, like, with the TV rights, like, these people get this money up front. They don't get it, like, at the end of,
it's a contract.
It's a contract, and they get the money up front. So a lot of these people, like ESPN gave UFC a lot of money.
Yeah.
I think NBA has TNT. It has different ESPN. Yeah. All these people break bread with the NBA. So how to make? I don't know if the NBA has to give you the money back because you didn't televise all the games that we were supposed to televise during the schedule. I don't know how that works, but
most likely.
Yeah.
I don't. you know,
I
because
mean,
some of these things you never know. Because some people are already buying houses when this money is allocated. Because this money gets allocated, people get hired, staff gets hired, people start to distribute this money. So how do you pull it back? And if we're talking about banking, banks really, if you put your money in a bank, it's not really in a bank. The bank goes and gambles with your money. So at the end of the day, it's a mess. It's going to be a mess financially when it comes to entertainment. It's a mess. And what UFC is doing, this guy's grabbing his nuts pretty much, and he's going for it. He's going for it because he knows, really and truly, these UFC fighters, even if they got the coronavirus, they are elite athletes. And to my knowledge, and I'm not a med person, I'm not a virus expert. I know that if you're in pretty good shape, you don't have high blood pressure, you don't have all these pre-existing conditions, if you're exposed to it, I mean, it's gonna suck, but you're gonna be good. So these fighters are in tip-top shape. They're not a problem. I'm hearing that the English Premier League is thinking about doing something similar to the Olympics, where they create like camps where they have all the Premiership teams in one city, and they're all camping, and they're going to finish the games because the Premiership owes money to the TV people that paid money to have the Premiership televised. So it's crazy.
Strap. I think those are all ideas, like all these entertainment business are thinking about. Something that came up as well for the NBA. I heard or I read somewhere where they were thinking that they might just have the playoffs take place in Vegas. So everyone will be in one city, get tested, make sure everyone is clean, and then go from there. But at the end of the day, we're going to see how it's going to work out, because it's not easy. You know, sport is not the same without fans there to watch it. Right, even though we watch it on TV, like the whole vibe is just different when you have people actually watching it. It's going to be different for the athletes as well, because they feed off the positive energy coming from the fans. And if they don't get that, I don't think they're going to be able to give us the same product that we used to getting. You know what I mean?
That's understandable, but I think the underlying issue now is the money game. And I'm going to use the NBA and MMA to juggle back and forth. MMA, to me, probably one of the sports that needs to make a move from the fighter's perspective. Let's remember, most of these fighters for sports in general, they're probably the least paid athletes compared to every other sport. Obviously the 1%, the McGregors, the Khabibs, the Jones, like even the heavyweight guys. It's not really one or two of them that has really pushed that narrative to where they request top dollar. Right now, I'm trying to see for the ladies, probably Ronda Rousey when she was still fighting, she probably commanded top dollar. But aside from those guys, most of these guys, on average, the paycheck is what, 30 to 50 grand per fight. And then some guys only fight twice a year. People always knocked guys like Donald Cerrone because he was always ready to go, because he was always in shape. But he knew that always being in shape meant that he could easily jump in for a fight and make, from 30 grand upwards. Now for guys who fight twice a year, and all of a sudden then they're probably not getting to fight, it's difficult for them to not want to push the purse. So provided they're healthy, that's good. Now on the NBA side, I think history has shown us that unfortunately professional athletes who are used to big contracts make poor financial decisions. I was looking at something CJ made. I was reading something CJ McCollum said, I think a couple of days ago. He said he was speculating, but he said he believes that probably 150 out of the 450 NBA players are struggling financially right now. Are living paycheck to he said I think they're living paycheck to paycheck. So that means that, yes, I know the fans play a huge part, but when at some point these players are going to want to, at least find a way to make money, regardless of how difficult the situation might be. Now, obviously, we know the LeBrons, the Currys, and most of these guys, they're set. the
Yeah.
dollars, all these guys who have found a way to branch out to other avenues, like either shoot game entertainment or technology.
Yeah.
But for guys who, first of all, didn't even have solid contracts, guys who were
Right.
making a mill or whatever it may be, and were feeding 10 mouths, that is not all of a sudden, you know, the season is cut halfway. I think those guys are probably struggling, and we'll need basketball, you know, some way. So they're just gonna have to find a way. You know, hopefully it works out, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a question for you guys, because since we're talking about entertainment and sport, like, so, like, what do you think, like, us, like all three of us and many other people, we just love, like, we lost entertainment and sport so much, like, what is it about sport that makes us get so excited, you know?
Personally, I use sports as an escapism. I grew up my whole life doing sports. I mean, I really didn't play soccer. I mean, I played it. I was okay. I was one of those people you just add to a team just to add. It was never like a passion. I watched it more than I played it because my neighborhood, there were kids that were just, you know, forgive my language, bad. They were just nice. They were too nice. They were really nice. But I found my niche in a sport called rugby, where I went semi-pro at like 16, and I was playing for a club, and I was really, really good. And the first times I had a realization that I was gonna be good. I played for my national team under 19, and then transitioned from the under 19 to almost getting scholarships with Texas A&M, BYU, and Berkeley in California. So sports is a big thing for me. And when you stop playing sports at that high level, when I was serious, I wasn't drinking, I was focused. I was just working out, in shape, ran like 4 or 5 miles a day, maybe 180 pounds, 85, just quick as, you know, just in good shape, took care of myself. And then when you start to realize it's not the end all be all and it starts to fade, watching sports becomes more intense, because now you live vicariously through the people on TV, because you missed your train and you were not there. But so, I mean, and also it's an exchange of competitive energy. If you're not competitive in your day-to-day because you're around your girl, you don't want to be competitive around your girl. I mean, some people are, and some relationships work off competition. And then you start doing different life choices. Like I'm in the arts, so I create a lot. I make music. It's not good to be competitive when you do that. You always have to be yourself. You don't rush anything in the arts. And then and also workplace. So the workplace, you could be competitive, but again, it's a lot of games played in the workplace where it's hard to tell. So sports is like the only time you get to see gladiators, people putting it all out there to entertain you, and they do the whole Maximus thing in the gladiator. Are you entertained? It's the whole thing. So that's why I'm fixated about sports, because I didn't know it was so much of my life outside what I was doing, and it's now taken, and I'm like trying to watch people playing dice games on YouTube just to feel like people are competing or so, just something to just take the edge off, just to see people competing and reminding us that entertainment and competition go together. But that's...
before Dipo jumps in, Strap, I got a follow-up question for you. Was it someone or like something that what basically made you want to be interested in sport? Like, because you talked about like you've been doing it for as long as you can remember.
Yeah.
But was it someone in the family, a friend, or just like yourself? How was it?
I mean, in my household, we never had athletes like that. I mean, it was friends. It was neighborhood friends. So I had neighborhood friends that would ask me, like, drag me to play soccer, because we lived in this estate where we had a football field like maybe a block or two away. So we would walk over to the field, and we needed numbers in order to command the field. If you don't have numbers, other people that come with numbers are going to take over the field.
Yeah.
So if you come with numbers, they'll just get anybody. And if you didn't know how to play, they'll put you in the goal. Like, so you just had to find, and I was that guy. I was the extra. I was the add-on. So I never really watched. I mean, I watched a little bit of, I'm going back. I'm gonna age myself. This is like 96. So when I became a soccer or a football lover, I became a lover of the game was in 98 after the World Cup, the France 98. So, but prior to that, I was just an add-on. Somebody you just I play goalie or something just to fill up a number on a team, so we could keep the space on the football field. But that's how I got introduced to sports.
Paul, what about you, man?
I think for me, it's a lot of things. I think first I want to touch on two things. Why we gravitate towards sports. I think from what Strap is saying is the gladiator mentality that is just the adrenaline that comes from dads. I think also living vicariously through these players, especially when you probably don't have the. It's one of the things where it's like, okay, for example, you wish you could sing like Luther Vandross or whatever it is. I think it's almost the same thing for sports, which is also the reason why we tend to
do karaoke.
Yeah, which is the reason why we tend to also pick our best players and our best teams. It's just off of that, whichever it may be, MJ or whatever the case may be, just because you're kind of living vicariously through them. Also, the same even the MMA, two guys are fighting, but you're always compelled to pick one guy based on either the demeanor, the way they fight, whatever it may be. So I think it's just the gladiator mentality that kind of sways us, and then obviously the love of sports in general. But for me, I think what drew me to sports, a couple of things. So my dad actually played soccer when he was in he actually played for Emporia State when he was doing his masters here. I think back then soccer was a lot more, or I'll put it this way, teams, varsity, the whole varsity system of scholarship-based teams weren't as defined back then in the 70s. So soccer still had some sort of foothold, I believe. But then over time, things changed. They prioritize sports. Most D1, D2 schools can only have 5 main scholarship-based teams, and soccer, tennis tends to always take precedence over soccer in most schools, depending on your region, I think. But I think I think we should address that in a later segment. How you guys feel about soccer and rugby or sports that we love internationally not being main sports? But for me, with my dad, he just that's the fact that he was always athletic, and so for me it was soccer and boxing. I remember as a kid he used to do Ali's shuffle in the living room and shadow boxing and all those things. So those are the kind of things that gravitated me towards sports. I think the last thing was so I have 2 older brothers, and in the street we used to live in, most of our neighbors were older guys. They had older sons. I think or probably all the way to 10 years older than me, actually. So it was I think it was fun because it was easy for me to mesh into the game, having older guys playing with you. So as a kid, I either played as a forward or all the way at the back. It was never really in the middle because they're not trying to get you injured. So it was either a tapping goal or playing defense or whatever. So those are I think those are the main things that gravitated me towards sports. So.
Yeah, and for me personally, I'd say unlike today where kids, like during summertime, like summer break, kids have phones and they do social media and they go party. Like growing up for me, it was like during summertime, we love just getting together like on the street and play some soccer. Yeah. Just like Dipo and Strap said, coming from a international background in soccer has always been like probably like the best sport anybody watches and plays. So growing up being young, I was playing like soccer every summer with some friends. Yeah, right. I wasn't really as good when I first started, but like the more you play, the better you get at it. Yeah. And I got better eventually, and then I started getting interested in basketball. So like this happened when we moved from like one neighborhood to a different one, and they had a basketball court nearby. I started playing basketball, and like I think in 7th grade, my school had a basketball court, so like we would play during all like the breaks, and it was just interesting. And love playing, like always went along with the love of watching. Because my family, my dad always, man, he's a huge soccer fan. He's a huge soccer fan. So we'll be at home and watching. And the good thing about it is, it's like we're supporting the same teams.
Yeah.
So like there was like no hostile environment in the living room while watching sport. Because some families, man, I'm telling you, like you could have like a father and
my
son,
family.
Like the support completely different teams, rivals.
No,
so it gets heated in the house when you guys are watching the one game. But for me, it's like good family and friends, man, like friends. But going back to the first question, like why do I like sports so much? It's just it brings joy and excitement. Like it brings joy and excitement. It brings people together, man. And especially when you get older, you have a family and you have so much going on in your life. Yeah. It can become a stress reliever as well, and a motivation to be better. Because I think Dipo said it, or Strap said it, like you play sport when you're young and you don't make it like those poor athletes. Right. So what do you end up doing? Like you start watching now, like because you maybe you're trying to emulate, maybe your favorite athletes. So. Right. It's just like one of those things that make you better, put you in a good mood, and can be definitely like a way to stay focused in a way, like because work, family can put you into a whole lot of stress. So people will use sports to just kind of like relax and like stay in a good mood.
Yeah, I mean, like that's exactly it. And once that bug of sports has bitten you, you start to open different doors. Like as soon as I fell in love with, like, it didn't even start with soccer. I grew up in a big fighting like family. Like they loved fight sports. So we used to watch a lot of boxing, from like Mike Tyson to James Toney. A lot of people don't remember that fighter. And then Lennox Lewis, and Evander Holyfield, because my dad used to always watch that. And I mean, I didn't know why we were watching that, but you just grew up in a household watching that type of stuff. And then we had videos like little VHS of Ali fighting in Congo with George Foreman. I don't know, we had that in the house. But I didn't know that was sports. I just thought these guys are just boxing. So
right.
I didn't know it was competition. I didn't know what crowds were. But this is stuff that you just grow up with. My first remembrance of, like, and I don't want to drag this topic too long because we have other things to talk about. But like I remember like '94 World Cup, but I had no idea about it. Like I remember Italy in penalty shootouts and Baggio missing it. I think, Roberto Baggio of Italy. Yeah. I remember Brazil with the young Ronaldo, with Dunga, Tafarel. I just remember all these names, Bebeto, Romario. I just remember these names, but they never meant anything until '98, where I had a team. Like, because
I think
it's just weird. It's so weird how these things
young. We were young. It's like we were still young, so like even though you're watching sport, it was not the same as when you would have a team that you're supporting. And I think you brought up a good point about boxing, because interestingly, my family, nobody really was ever into boxing, but somehow I started watching boxing, and I loved Iron Mike, man. Mike Tyson, man, Iron Mike, man, that was my dude. Like, up to these days, I feel like when it comes to heavyweight, like after we retired, I kind of stopped watching boxing, but now it's coming back. So it's all good. But I'm just saying, like, just depends. You don't have to have someone bring you into, like watching sport or like enjoying entertainment. You can learn as you go as well.
So let's talk about let's break it down for entertainment and sports, and just talk about us. So how do we, as individuals, as brothers that have been in different parts of the world, how do we decipher and break down how to build strong relationships, and also not only just strong relationships, but successful throughout the longevity of that relationships, with people that you'd want to make those relationships with, or people that are beneficial to you, and people that you see importance not impotence, but like that bring value to that relationships. How do we build that? And now that we're grown, I mean, I think it's a dead giveaway, but like I'll let us just talk about this a little bit more.
Paul, you want to go?
So I was brainstorming on that a bit. I think the first thing is before even building a relationship, where are you as an individual? I'll use a couple as an example. I think a lot of motivational speakers or relationship experts or whatever the case may be, or even personally, I've talked about this, right? If you're not happy, if you're not joyful, happy within yourself in a relationship, you can't. It's not your significant other's duty to make you happy or to make you a joyous person in relationship. So I'm saying that to then go back to conversation, right? You as a person have to, within yourself, be solid, spirit, soul, and body. Be all inclusive, whichever way, before you then branch out and start making relationships. Because trust me, if you're a toxic individual, first of all, it'd be difficult for you to hold a serious relationship, either with a significant other or a friend or whatever the case may be. But then as time goes on, you realize that you, regardless of who you are, a knucklehead, a joyous person, a quiet person, whatever the case may be, love sports, whatever the case may be, you will always tend to gravitate to people who either have had the same struggles as you have the same goals that you have, or just understand you better than others can. That's the reason why every relationship is different, right? Some couples can afford to live together for 20-30 years being the same people, but then some people will tell you that no, that's not possible. I can't live with someone like me. I need a total opposite. But then you realize that that might not always be the case. Some people some people love who they are, and then they end up meeting someone who's just like them, and then it works out like, oh, you guys are weird. But it's like, okay, it might be weird to you, but it works great for them. So
right,
and then obviously in a relationship, from a friendship basis, what's the saying? To 20 friends don't play together for 20 years or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
Most times that's true, not all the time. But I think at the end of the day, is things you've passed through in life that kind of makes you end up either loving the people you love, or just keeping course with people that you just kind of, you sort of feel connected to. So
relationship is it's a huge topic. It has a lot of different things that we can talk about. For me to build strong and successful relationships with people, first of all, you got to get to know people. Whether it's a business relationship, or relationships doesn't just mean like being friends with someone. It could be a business relationship. It could be a love relationship. It could be like a brotherly or sisterly relationship. But to build a relationship with someone, you have to know someone. You can't claim to have a relationship with someone if you don't really we don't really know who they are. So to a certain degree, we've got to do our homework on other people. It's like if you're trying to make a business deal with someone, you have to do your homework and know who they are and what they want, and that'll be the same way. Like if you're trying to go out with a lady or a girl, like you're gonna try to find out like what they're about, like what they like, so it's like the basis of everything. And relationship, like strong relationships, don't happen overnight. They're built over time. And a lot of people make these mistakes where the thing, just because I've been around you for like 2-3 months, means we have a strong relationships. And what you realize most of the time is like relationship can be very fragile. It takes a lot of time to build it, and it takes only this much to break the whole thing down.
Yep.
So that's why you gotta have a strong foundation, and to have a strong foundation, you have to get to know like what is this person about? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like connect deeper than just like seeing things on the surface.
Right.
Because a lot of relationships, I've seen friendships or people that claim to be friends, you know, like have argument, the next thing you know, like they don't even want to talk to each other. And then how can you come to be friends if you only have like a disagreement, and next thing you know, like you don't even want to shake hands, you don't want to hang out. So that just means that you never got, spend the time to get to build a strong foundation. So everything starts from like a solid foundation, and to get a solid foundation, you have to get to know someone and let it build over time. Don't rush it. Take your time. Go invade somebody's space. Get to know them on a personal level or maybe business level, but you have to make sure you do it well. And to do it well, you need time to make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys have milked this cow. I mean, taking all the juice out, and but really and truly, I like to piggyback on what Dipo said about personalities, and if somebody's toxic, if somebody's this, if somebody's that. I think before even you decide to build a relationship, you have to have knowledge of self. A lot of people are not aware of who they are. I mean, they know who they are, but they don't know how people perceive them. Before even you even extend your hand to go and try to create connections with people, know who you are, know your strengths and weaknesses, know that, okay, if I say this in this type of room, it's going to rub everybody wrong. It's the whole idea of know the crowd that you're trying to entertain, or know the audience you're trying to present to. So if you know who you are, you know your strength, you know your weaknesses, and you know them very well, like sometimes take your time off to be by yourself and be like, okay, do I talk too much? Okay, do I do this thing too much? Does this rub people off wrong? Will I chase off people with these different characteristics? And if you are comfortable with who you are, truly and really, and you don't care what people will say about you, guess what? It will bring an authenticness to your personality that even though you're in any room, even though you do the weirdest thing, people are just going to look at you and be like, that's him. At least he's him. He's not a snake. He's not pretending to be my friend to get my relationship. He's just who he is. And he's unapologetically that person. And there's something about being organic and being yourself that we all have this innate ability to smell fake. I've been around people, I mean, especially now that I'm in a position that I am at where I work, where I know people in departments that want to come to our department or stuff like that. But anyways, let me not talk about that. But just if I'm in my music, I know people that want to use me because maybe they like what I have right now, and they're using you as a stepping stool to get to where they want to go. And there's a difference between someone that does something, and even though they have flaws, because we all have flaws, we just know how to hide them. All of us hide our flaws the best way, but there's somebody you could see their flaws, but they sit in their flaws very strongly that they don't have to put makeup on their flaws. They don't have to hide that zit on their face. They're just wearing it perfectly, where they show you what being a human being is. A human being is, we all come with our own issues. It's just how we were raised. Some people didn't have the foundation that some people had. Some people didn't, but we all have gold. We all have gold. So if I'm going to go out of my way to create a relationship, first of all, these are the three things I look at. First is, how beneficial is this relationship? How am I going to benefit you, and how are you going to benefit me? And it sounds selfish, but that's real life. I'm not going to go out of my way, especially now that I'm turning 33. I'm not going out of my way to just make friends just to just sit down and kiki. I'm not sitting down and just laughing with it. I mean, because now I have a daughter. I have all these different things happening in my life, and all these different things that I have to take control of. I'm not trying to just go out of my way to create something that is just gonna be based on kikiing and just sitting down and just talking about nothing. So what benefit? Are you the person that is gonna keep me accountable to what I promised that I'm gonna start doing? Are you, we all have different friends for different things, so, or different relationships, whether it's marriage, platonic, whether it's emotional, all these different type of relationships that we build. But really and truly, relationships begin with the person. The person, you. It starts with you. People will gravitate to you. Like, I will sit down and see how many friends I have, right? Based on how I'm treating myself. If I treat myself really good, all my friends are hitting me up. If I treat myself horrible, of course, like if I'm being, it starts with the person, the individual. If it's workplace, getting promotions, if I'm in a, like everything that I do starts with the single unit that is you. And that's how I look at it. Relationships, it starts with you. Know yourself. And if you know yourself, there's that famous book that I was reading. Gosh, I hate, but that's one of my segments that we'll talk about later. Books that you're reading. So there's a philosophist called Confucius. Have you heard of Confucius? Confucius. Yeah. He's Chinese, right? He has a saying that says that you can command 1,000 people, but the hardest, and I'm messing it up because it's been translated differently into English, but the hardest person that you can ever control is yourself. You can control all these people by controlling yourself and holding yourself accountable. The extra push-up that you add on, like people, you guys work out all the time, right? All these different things that you do. The hardest person to convince is yourself, because you could be perfect in front of a crowd of people presenting in boardroom meetings, but somebody you can never ever BS is yourself. And once you master how to control yourself, all the other relationships happen innately. My bad, I was talking too much on that one.
Yeah, I mean,
good topic.
That's the truth, but I want to pull something from what you said, and I don't think I necessarily agree, but I want us to talk about it for a bit. Your statement about, you said something about I don't think you can know yourself fully if you don't know how others perceive you. I feel like for you to, you need to, then what you just said at the end, where you said you can command 1,000 people, you can't necessarily command yourself. I don't necessarily think that it's possible for you to know your true self if you cannot look what's it called, be outside looking within. So how
like seeing like a different angle, right?
Right, seeing different angle. I don't necessarily think you can.
Oh, it takes.
I don't think you can 100% know
you're
yourself.
Right.
If
you're absolutely
you don't know
right.
How someone else looks at you, or
absolutely right.
It's kind of you eavesdropping on a conversation that people are having about you, right?
And you're absolutely right. I mean, you cannot control how people receive you. The only thing that you can control is, if before you go to bed, reflect on all the things that you did, because I bet you'll find that I was an asshole to maybe my girl. I was an asshole to maybe. There's something about being reflective and knowing all the single, like it's the whole thing of, okay, meditating is a real thing. Silence, and they always say you're never alone. You're never lonely if you're happy with the person that you're with. Some people, we live in this world, especially during this corona time, people are realizing this. We live in this world on autopilot. You just wake up, you automatically respond to stuff. You just want to talk. You don't think about the stuff that you do. And that's what people receive. But again, you're absolutely right. You cannot control, or you cannot predict or forecast how people are going to receive you, because people come from different backgrounds. Because guess what? If I did this in some countries, this is a diss. But I didn't know that. Yeah. To me, this means okay, right? There's so many different symbolisms. There's culture sensitivity. You're absolutely right. There's so many aspects of that statement that I said that may not really fit in its totality, in its total. But you can only control what you could control, and that's yourself.
Yeah, I got something to say about that. I mean, I like what Dipo was saying, and I see where Dipo was going with this, because like I was saying, here, like building relationship, we have to remember, Strap, we talk about relationships with others, not relationship like kind of like a self relationship. Like, I understand you have to know who you are before you can go out there and put yourself in a position to build a relationship with other people. Because obviously, if you're lying, you don't want to be hanging out with some cats. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you have to know yourself to be able to say, like, I want to put myself in this position to build this type of relationships, because I feel like this is where I'm gonna get better. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's good. But then again, what Dipo was saying is nice, because like you can like think about it this way: you can build a legacy, but what determines if it was a good or bad legacy is the other people. It's not gonna be you, because you can do stuff, and from your own perspective, it may look good to you, but how people like receive it is going to be different, and those people can give you like a different response. They can say, yes, whatever Strap is doing, like however Strap is treating me, like is a positive thing or negative thing.
Right.
It doesn't mean they're right.
Right.
It doesn't mean they're right, because like you said, like people, like you're gonna do something now for someone and they're gonna receive it in a different way.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's why I say, like, because it's a two-way street.
Right.
That's where you get to know someone and get to see from the angle how they view who you are. You know what I mean?
Right. And I'll circle that to say that those people judging you also need to have a relationship with themselves. Because they could see, we all reflect on others on how we reflect on ourselves. Period. I always want to see someone, that's why people have nepotism, tribalism. They want to hire people that they see themselves in.
Yeah.
So if I step in a room and you're going to dissect me on how I'm dressed, how I look like, what my race is, what my sex is, it shows a reflection of you. They don't have a relationship with themselves. They don't know who they are. So if you have that self-awareness, you're walking into this world freely, and the real people that took their time off to understand who they are, those relationships will happen naturally, without even you forcing it. Because trust me, there's been situations where a dude is trying to holler at a girl and they've been stalking her on Facebook, knowing exactly what she likes, being the perfect guy, always showing their representative, but not who they really are. And once they get the girl, they show them who they really are. And the girl is like, you're changing. That's the problem. It's because you didn't reflect on who you were, and you did other things prior to that relationship becoming passed from platonic, from friendship, to you bringing your real person. Like they always bring the guy who brings flowers the first day, pulls, opens the door, does all this, and then later on you fall off, and then there's that whole and that's just an analogy. It may not fit in this, but if you know who you are and you sit on your flaws and you can justify your flaws and also have a consistency in your personality, and also be a person of your words, not BSing, not doing anything, because the worst person that you could BS to is yourself. We always know who we are BSing to. Trust me. If it's working.
Man, before we keep going far, I got something, because I like what you're saying, and I just need to tell you something like real quick. So, like I'm going back to what I've been talking about, emphasizing on time. Everything that you said, like I like that, and this is where time is your friend, because just like you said, like someone can be like showing you all these good things and the good sides, and it's like in marriage. Like some people get married up to date for like 6 months, a year, 2 years, and then they get married and things change. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why things change? I feel like, it's my opinion. I feel like it has to do with not taking the time to properly get to know each other, like properly get to know the other person. Because let's be honest, when you trying to date someone or you courting someone, nobody want to show the flaws first. Yeah, everyone's trying to show like how nice they are, how they can open the door for you, and they all do all these things. Yeah. But as you keep dating, as you spend more time together, whether you want it or not, those flaws are going to be coming out. You can't hide them forever. Yeah. Because it is who you are, right? Yeah. So this is where time becomes your best friend. If you take that time, you take the time to get to build that relationship with someone, right? Whether they like it or not, who they truly are is going to come out to the surface. Yeah. So I feel like you want to build a solid relationship. You want to get to know who you are and make sure that person knows who you are before you get committed to like a, you know, like to, I don't know, like a love relationship, marriage relationship, friendship, business. Give it some time. Give it some time, and I think things will work out.
Have you guys heard this quote unquote statement? Hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
Somebody that doesn't like themselves, somebody that is going through a depression, they're going to be mean to other people. And I believe that energy never dies, it transfers. So if I'm mean to my child, right, she's going to go to school and be mean to another kid and be a bully. And then that kid is going to be depressed, and then something is going to happen, and it all comes back to you. It's like a 360, not even 360, but it's a full circle, and it comes back to you. So relationships, I totally believe that to be one with your relationship, both parties have to have knowledge of self. They have to know, they have to have that thing in them. If I'm, you know, it starts with that individual. So like right now, what I do, 90% of my job, I work with subject matter experts. So these are relationships. The hardest thing about a subject matter expert, it's like every day, I'm like a car salesman. I have to prove myself to someone. I have to find a way to get someone to believe that I can get what they have, what they know, and create this curriculum, right? So it's a hard thing when you're sitting down with a PhD doctor and you're maybe 33 and he's 60, because there's ageism there. So they're going to judge you, and the way they're going to talk to you is kind of different. So you're trying to get, if you're building like a pharmacy class, you have to, there's techniques in there. So some people use a whole different approach. Like I said earlier, they fake it. They smiley, they're this, you know, the quote unquote kiss, whatever, you know, kiss A type of personality. And some people are just type A, where they give me what you have, this is what I have. But sometimes we forget the true value in life is, the true aspect in life is value. He has to see value in you. And someone to see value in you, they have to see themselves. So being honest and being authentic is the best thing you could ever do.
True.
And that's why I feel you guys have very successful relationships, because you're honest and authentic with your girlfriend. Not being rude. Being honest is not being rude. Like, you don't have to yell at somebody or disrespect your boss, but you know, you could present it in a respectful way, but not compromising you. And
I agree.
I'll play your personality in a closet.
Yeah, I'll play antagonist to what Strap said about being honest. What's the other word you used? Being honest and truthful, right?
Truthful, yeah. Authentic. Honest and authentic.
Honest and authentic. So I think that works perfectly in two scenarios: your relationship with you and your family, right? Everything besides that, it may not always be the case. Now, you could be, like, for example, in the workforce, you could be honest with yourself, with who you are, but you almost have, I feel like you probably sometimes have to play the game.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that bites off of being honest and being authentic. It's almost like saying a white lie, right? I'm not lying to you, but I'm also not saying.
But the workforce, like you said, you're a devil that. But you know, we've been in the workforce. The workforce is very flawed. It's a lot of people playing the game. That means it's a whole lot of dishonesty. It's whole lot of what they call it, boss's pets, or like, hey, let me do this, you know. But really, when you leave the work, you're smoking a Black and Mild and drinking a fifth of Hennessy. But at work, you're wearing your tie suit, clean, you know, proper speaking. Go back home, you're cussing, you're using all these different words. But really and truly, your body will never lie to you, because you get tired of it, and that's why people are looking forward to retiring. And that's the problem with the workforce, is how to make work look like you're hardly working. It takes away the passion of what you do. That's why some people don't want to go to work wearing a suit and tie. They want to wear jeans, they want to wear pajamas, and that's why people want to be entrepreneurs. So the honesty will catch up with you, because you cannot bullshit yourself. You could bullshit. You can't bullshit yourself. Sorry, I
was gonna say this, man. I feel like this is a big topic that we have to come back to, because there are definitely like many types of relationships, and you could actually I don't want to say like that, but you could be like a different type of person depending on what type of relationship you're in. So that's what I think. Like, we should come back to this topic and try to expand, try to look at it from like many different angles, you know, like what it's like family and friends, and then
Mhm.
business, and then try to explore, because there's so much that I feel like is coming out of this, and like, we definitely need like a
Yeah.
whole session to be able to
Yeah.
like truly dig
Yeah.
into it.
All right. I think I'll take this next topic. I think for me,
All right.
it's I would say it's almost dead to my heart, but at the same time, it's something that I reflect on
Yeah.
from time to time. So the topic is this:
Mhm.
faith and science, can they coexist? Faith and science can
That's-
Hmm.
and I want to also add this quick, I guess, line or whatever. As a spiritual and not a religious person,
Yeah.
faith
Yeah.
and science, can they coexist?
That sounds like my wheelhouse, man. Like I said, I'm in the biopharma industry. So I'm a science guy, graduated with a biology major and chemistry. So I'm into science, and I'm also very religious. I'm a Christian, and I'm very involved in my church, and you know, like I've been my faith has been growing over the years, and just trying to learn to be closer to God. So I'm in the middle of it, you know what I mean? And I think, yes, to answer your question, yes, they can definitely coexist. There's no reason why you can do science and believe in God. Because for me, it's more like the more I do science, the more I've been in the science industry, the more I actually believe in God, because I can see that like God put us scientists, or put scientists in a position to be who they are and to be successful. So there's a lot of things that you can actually see in science that, like, if you really dig deep, you can see that like it's all being fed by like religion or God to speak of. Before I keep going out, like, let's see what Strap has to say about that.
Honestly, like, I feel like without religion, there would be no science. I feel like sometimes life is all about balance. We need the yin and the yang. We need darkness, we need light. Without that, we'll be swayed onto the other side too much, and it will then make us fully, as humans, like where we are. Everything that we have has a polar opposite, and the polar opposite creates normality and what we consider normal. Science and religion go hand to hand. I look at scientists as God put them out there to be God's fact checkers. Like the same way we have two political parties that always fact check each other, like science is the reason why we can explain God's creation, like oxygen, that we cannot see. You know, we can call it, we can call it O2, and breaking down different compounds, breaking down what we consider as nature and medicine, which could be received or derived from plants, but science will break it down as this element mixed with that element is a concoction that creates this, that makes us have this. So there's reason, because the idea of spirituality, of believing in a higher power, comes from us knowing that we are just human beings. We are very fragile, and there has to be a bigger purpose. And the bigger purpose, of course, has been defined in religion, whether it's Islam, whether it's Judaism, whether it's Buddhism, or whether it's Christianity, and so on and so forth. But the one that makes us explain all these different metaphysics, things that we cannot touch, is science. And that's why I feel like they have to go together. You cannot have one without the other. If you always believed in science and Scientology and all these different things, then you cannot explain things like like there's so many things that you cannot explain. Like there's so many like I have to sit down and think about things that science cannot disprove, like that the higher power can explain, so that's my idea of it. Sorry if I got long with that explanation.
I mean, Dipo, since you asked the question, like, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think honestly they can coexist, because it's almost they kind of go hand in hand, even to the point of when people talk about creation, right? where did humans come from? Say Big Bang, back in what's it called? High school, middle school, Big Bang theory, all this stuff. It came from H-man, right? Yeah, all that jazz, right? It's almost the same thing when you think about religion or your faith or spirituality, right?
Yeah.
You're believing based on faith.
Yeah.
Also on the same side with science, it's like, okay, someone told you that, we came from this Big Bang, or we came from this 5 generations before. It's almost the same thing back and forth. And then you fast forward to our times, you realize that no man within himself has the ability. He's not blessed, or if he's not blessed by God, or he doesn't have the God-given ability to do certain things, like who within himself or within his natural ability can go into an operation and perform all these miracles, just done, with someone in human flesh. It's not it's not easy for you to just go be in an operation room and to comfortably separate, twins joint at birth. Or I think that there was one probably happened maybe last year or early this year I think it was a Nigerian doctor who successfully removed a lady's baby from the womb, removed the fibroid, I think the cancerous stuff that was in her, and put the baby back in, and the baby was delivered. Or I believe the baby was delivered normally through its normal course. So somewhere in between the pregnancy, they found out that she had some mass in her.
Yeah.
Successfully removed the baby, put the baby back in after the surgery was done. So you look at all these things like, okay, yes, I know you read and whatnot, but it's almost like it's an higher power who gives you that strength to be able to carry through such a process.
Yeah.
Because you're basically you're playing God at that point.
Absolutely.
That's who can fathom that? I don't care how much you think you've read or whatever the case may be, but now you're standing in front of you already slit someone's womb open.
Yeah. Honestly, I think this is also like one of those topics where we can sit here and start going back and forth a lot. Yeah. And I know we don't have a lot of time left for today, but we could always revisit this topic. And like I agree with what Dipo said. Like I agree with what Dipo said, because there's like faith and religion, like it gives us a sense of purpose. Even as someone who goes to school and you get all these degrees, people will still rely on faith to be able to do things that they may not want to do if they were, if they didn't have that. If they have that, thinking that I have a higher power who's going to be guiding me through this surgery or like this research, and I think it's a strong weapon for people that are into science, rather than trying to say I don't want no part of religion, no part of faith, anything like that. I think you can use that as a booster to even become better as a scientist or as a researcher, because you feel like wherever my mind or my spirit or my knowledge stops, I know there's someone who's going to back me up, and there's the higher power, God, who's going to be pushing me to keep moving forward. And I'm telling you, man, especially when you do research, that we see, like we're talking about, like when the whole coronavirus outbreak, and people are longing for a vaccine and drugs, and it takes a lot of time, and people have to put in time and the mind, and like it's exhausting. But just if you think about it, and it's like, I'm not doing this for myself, I'm doing this for a bigger purpose. And I know, because I'm trying to do good, I know God, or like a higher power, or Allah, they're definitely going to, the higher power is going to push me, make me want to move forward. Like it becomes a plus for you, rather than just limiting yourself to saying like, I will only put my faith in science and nothing else.
Yeah.
So listenership, viewership, everybody that is getting this podcast, I mean, it's been the Center Street Boys. We've had Strap in the house, Dez, Dipo, And we concluding today with our topics. Thank you for listening to us. Fellas, do you want to tell the listeners something before we conclude this?
No, man, it's been great, man. It's been great. Just being able to sit and have a discussion. Center Street Boyz. I know we got a lot to say, and we got more coming up.
Yeah.
So to all the listeners and viewers, man, this is only the beginning. It's only gonna get better from here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I just wanted to say sorry to the Lakers this year.
Man.
We're gonna conclude like that.
Man, stop.
No.
Stop.
Sorry to Liverpool. Liverpool waited 30 years.
We'll see what happens.
Sorry to Liverpool. Liverpool is the only team I feel sorry for. They waited 30 years.
Also, Arsenal's not getting top 4. So
I mean, if the season ends, we are making it to the Champions League. If the season ends,
that's
did you
not
see what happened?
That's not top 4.
But what number?
That's not top 4.
No, but if the season ends, when we last played, what was the score? What happened?
Fine, that don't matter. We're talking about the table.
I mean, we're gonna make it to the Champions League if it ends. Anyway, fans, let's conclude this.
All right, man, this dude Dipo, man. He's in the podcast taking shot at everyone. All right, that's how it is, man.
That's me signing out.
Hey, peace and love. Salute to everybody. All right.